Let's go to Keener in Dallas. How you doing today?
All right. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
I was kind of looking at a couple, and they're different questions, each one,
Okay.
a different situation. In this market, I found one that I liked, and I got spooked out of it early today because of the crash, and I took a loss I didn't need to take. Really irritated me. I hate that. You know, ENDP.
ENDP, yeah. Isn't this Endo Pharmaceuticals?
ENDP, yeah.
Yeah. So what's your question on it?
Basically, after it went down today, big time, and then it came back with it pretty strongly. And there have been several points every time
Are
it
we
dips
looking at the
down
same
on
one?
the
Are we looking at?
I'm a day trader, and so every time it dips down during the day, today it has found volume buyers.
Yeah. You're talking about ENDP.
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't see where it moved down that badly today. It's just in the trading range of the candle from the 17th.
No, it opened up with such a down, excuse me, such a down crash that just like everything else, it hit my trigger for sell, and I sold real quick.
Okay.
And now I was wondering whether I should get back in, is what it boils down to.
Well, your risk reward for me, I couldn't have bought this thing unless it got back to 13.50 or $14, which is support. These guys, specialty pharmaceutical company, manufactures and sells generic and branded pharmaceuticals in the United States. Company operates 3 segments: generics and branded pharmaceuticals. To see what else do they make out here. Long acting implantable pellet for the treatment of precocious puberty.
Boy.
That's interesting.
The reason I was asking is again, I put everything up on multiple windows with different moving time frames, and during the day trading, when I see one that I've been tracking, and the volume comes in whenever it pulls back, that always indicates somebody's buying it. Because if it climbs after that every single time, and then it has a slight sell-off, and then more people pile in and buy again. So I was wondering whether this continued long climb since June, since it responded so well to today, what is, it's not your standard style of buy because you like pullbacks. But
I've got to have some gravy, and from $14 to $18 over 2 months or whatever. Not enough gravy for me on this one. It moved fairly narrow. It's in its trading range. You really have to get this thing to $18.50. I'm not debating that it doesn't look good and it's fairly steady. I'm just thinking that if I wanted to buy something, I'd need to buy it back down at support, which is about $13.50, $13.75. So I don't see the risk reward for me.
Okay.
And that is it.
Because I got spooked out early today when it opened up so far down, the candles. The other one was GoPro, GPRO.
We'll look at that one. And we're back with Keener in Dallas, I hope. Still there?
You are.
Okay.
Yeah. And
GoPro,
thank you for your advice on ENDP, because I was thinking about getting back into it again.
Yeah, but I just don't see it. Can it go higher? Yeah, I just don't see the risk reward. I mean, it moves a little bit higher each day, but it's pretty small. So the thing would be it always comes back down to $14, and that would be problematic for trying to make another quarter or 50 cents higher.
Yeah. Okay. I was also interested in GoPro because if you look at the candle today, it's that's a bullish engulfing.
Yeah, of the last 3 days, but yeah, the problem is
bullish engulfing, really.
Yeah, the problem is you can buy what they make for about $50, and they sell it for $300 or $400. I just don't know how this thing is ever going to get back above, and running again. And so every time it goes up a bit, could this be a nice little short squeeze? It could be. You got a high volume low at $5.77 that's been untested. And you got resistance,
Where's that?
$5.77. That's October 10th.
Okay, my chart didn't go back that far.
This
Yeah,
that's
I
only
see
14 days.
that. Huh?
October 10th of this year.
October 10th of this year. Oh yes, okay. I'm sorry. I was looking back further than that.
Okay, now you just, I mean, you had a high volume low there. You bounced off of it. Can you get some rips? You say you are day trading on it, and
Yeah,
to me,
I'm day trading everything off of volume swings within high volatile stocks.
well, I was going to say the big thing on this one would be whether or not you catch a short squeeze in it. I don't think there's a lot to the company, but
I don't either. I just trade in the chart.
but you've got almost a 29% short interest in it. So 1 out of every 3 shares is short. So you can get some big moves out of it like you got today. It'll probably take another couple of years for this company to go out of business. But I think their last swan song is this year. They don't make anything that can't be duplicated by other folks fairly easily and significantly cheaper. I've got one that I bought, a Chinese kind of no-name camera for about $30 that has all the attachments, underwater attachments and everything. It's probably 90% as good as a GoPro. So very hard for me to get too excited about this long term. But again, you can get some nice rips out of it like to today. But man, I would hate to be long this thing overnight because you're one story away from the CEO leaving, which could actually make the stock rally.
Oh, really?
In the short term, if you got rid of Woodman. If you could get a buck. I think a buck, maybe a buck and a half on this thing. If you got somebody in that was a good CEO that knew how to kind of do a Sears on the thing and keep it running for the next 3 or 4 years, even though it's not doing anything. And there are people that are experts at that, financial engineering. Product, not going to do much. They do have some very neat new cameras, but I just don't know. I would always be afraid that they're one day away from trying to raise more cash, or on the opposite end, show some kind of huge move lower on it. It's a hand grenade with a pin pulled. So you could let go of it.
Or you never scanned for things like a bullish engulfing that's as significant as this one, and then to do a day trade off of it. You don't think that's not your style, huh?
No, I would do that if it was longer term. But right now, the only thing I can say is you're in a trading range from 577 to 760, and it did that right in the darn middle of the trading range. So you could have just a higher low and lower highs for a while on the thing.
Yeah,
right?
I see that. That's interesting.
So
the only other thing I wanted to, and thank you very much for your help and your advice. Would you state again what you said about ZAG? Because I was doing something else. I only caught the tail end of it.
Yeah, what I was going to say, this one's got one of the better looking patterns out here, in that you've taken some time to set this up back to May 9th, when it gapped up on almost 3 million shares, and it's down into this low with 200,000 shares. And now, if I'm remembering right, this company sells all kinds of attachment and cases for Apple phones and stuff. Yeah, mobile tech accessories. And of course, I think that next year is probably going to be a good year for that. So to me, nice setup. A lot of new phones next year with 5G coming on. So you may have a nice upgrade cycle, but you had real juice off the lows back here on May 9th, and it went up to $19. You're down at 11.55. This thing is either going to go a little lower and you stop out, or you get to $19.40, which is what, 75% move?
Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
that's the gravy,
I
right?
see.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you lose 10% on the downside, but you've got 75% on the upside. So these
So
are the longer
you weren't
patterns.
looking at that August 1st hammer on high volume, and what you're looking at is the gap back on May 5th or something. And
Right.
what
Are you
you're
watching
saying,
on
in
Tiger
essence, is
TV?
the gap is the thing that tells you that there's a lot of up motion, and the testing of it with the hammer back in August was just proof, and this is like a second testing of that on a lower retrace.
Right, and significantly lighter volume. 3 million, then you went to 1.26 million, and now yesterday you had 340,000 shares. The day before that, 324,000 shares. Now today, 219,000 shares so far, and a nice little hammer out here. To me, the risk reward is much better. You don't want it closing below that gap, and it certainly doesn't have a lot of volume. And a market that was pretty horrible this morning. It didn't, people didn't go and start blowing out volume on it. So that to me is it has a better risk reward. You know where the downside is. It's whatever tested the low today. So 1155.
Yeah, so you basically have already seen that as many people as were going to sell it could have sold today logically, and they didn't. So that's
correct.
a good thing.
Right, and you want to know a little bit about the business. I mean, these guys sell cases, so thinking that there's going to be probably good business over the next 6 to 9 months, maybe a year in new phones as 5G rolls out and people get new 5G phones. Business is probably not going to go lower today than it is today, and chances are it could go much higher.
You've been very helpful, and thank you.
You bet.